Hi folks, and welcome to DevTrends. Today we're gonna talk about micro web server called Polka, performance monitoring tool called node.js, and web performance optimization with webpack. As for node.js based web servers, we got plenty of options: Express, Core, Happy, Feathers and others. But sometimes we don't need full-featured framework solution, but rather a small and fast web server with minimal overhead. And here comes Polka from Luke Edwards. Polka is a lightweight promise-based wrapper around native Node.js HTTP server with Express-like API. It includes just the most important parts of server development, such as middleware and the router. And because of this, Polka is about 2 times faster than Express, winning both in terms of requests per second and latency. So let's see how it works. Okay, let's switch to our terminal. Let's create a new folder for Polka demo and cd to it. Here let's create npm project and install Polka itself. So here is it. And let's set index.js file, which will be our server file. And let's possibly install node as well to be able to live reload our server. Let it be here in our package as well. So we installed node as well, and let's create index.js file for our Polka server. And let's create a minimal example for Polka server. So let's require Polka, and let's run the Polka method. So it's basically like Express application itself. And here we just call listen on some port, let it be 3000. And Polka is a promise based, so it has promise based API, so we can just write then when the server is created, and here let it be console log listening. Save it and run it. Let it be node index.js. So here is it listening, and if we go to localhost 3000, there will be nothing because there are no routes yet and no middleware. But Polka includes basic middleware functions and a router, as we said before. So let's check how it works with some simple middleware. Let's create logger function. So Polka's middleware takes 3 arguments: request, response, which are native API request and response from node.js API, and the next function, which brings the later middlewares into action. So here let's just console log some request helper. Let it be just request URL, and we call next to pass the code to other function. And here we use method of Polkas and just provide this middleware to this use method as an argument. So that's pretty it. Our server is restarted. Okay, let's go to localhost 3000 and check console. You can see there is request URL, output it in console, so it's working like full bar route, and here's our full bar string. So that's great. As I've already said, Polka includes basic router, so we can just add, for example, some routes. Let's add some get function for our GET requests, about page. So this is basically the same middleware, but like router wrapped API. Rec res next. Okay. And here, for example, let's end this request with some string. This is about page. Let's move to about page and check how it works. About, yes. So you can see there is a string which we outputted in the server part. So you can use post, put, delete method, basically all the basic methods of the REST API. And of course, Polka supports dynamic parameters as well. So let's create some dynamic route with same logic. So this will be our user's endpoint. Let's end this with some string. For example, user with ID, and here we pass rec params ID, and let's save, and let's go to user's endpoint as well. 1, 2, 3. You can see this part is changed dynamically depending on our path. So that's pretty neat. In Polkas, all middleware can be asynchronous as well. So let's add some basic asynchronous example. Let's create some delay function to delay our requests. Set timeout, resolve, and milliseconds. And let's create some asynchronous middleware. Let it be just custom. Sync rec res next. Here let's wait for example 2 seconds. And after 2 seconds we pass the execution to the next pipeline. And we can use here custom. And let's go to our road. So we can see our requests are hanging for 2 seconds now, and then gets passed to the road middleware itself. So async is working as well in the Polka. It's great. Polka itself has some additional arguments which you can pass to Polka instance. For example, on error argument, which will throw and output errors that get thrown in the middleware, so it will catch it. Let's add some error logging here, and for example, let's end the request with error string to the client. And let's, for example, modify our custom middleware to return, to throw an error in the next function. Let it be boom. Save it, and let's reload. And you can see there is error boom outputted here, and also we see it in our console where we added this on error handler, this console log in it. But this is not the all, because Polka has an Express like API, so you can use all the Express middleware. You just simply use as in Express. For example, let's add some base middleware here. Let's set, for example, serve static middleware, and let's include it, serve static, and let's put our static assets in static folder here. Let's change the custom to serve middleware, just it. Saving. Okay, let's wait till it loads, till it installs. So we installed serve static middleware, and let's create static folder, and let's, for example, put index.html in this folder, and let it be hello world. Saving, and let's see how it works. So we run our node daemon as well again, and as we got our serve static middleware mounted on the root, you can see that all the files that are in static folder in our server are here. You can just go to, for example, index.html as well, and you can see hello world, but our dynamic routes are still working. That's great. So you can see it's pretty simple to use Polka, even if you haven't used Express-like frameworks before. And I think it's a good companion for Preact, for example, and will be a great fit for anyone building small and fast web applications. Now let's switch to how to test and optimize the performance of your node.js server. Nowadays we mostly concentrate on client-side performance on our web applications, thinking of how to reduce bundle size, implement code splitting, asynchronous loading, and so on. But equally important part of boosting your app lies on the server. Yes, for small application it will be sufficient just to switch to Polka from Express, but for example, for large ones, there are a lot of narrow places which you have to keep an eye on, and this can be pretty daunting task. But fortunately, we got tools just for that, and Node Clinic is one of them. Node Clinic takes your server, unloads numerous heavy requests on it via some helper, and generates a report dashboard with performance statistics and optimization tips. Let's see how it works. Let's switch to terminal, and let's this React Redux real-world example app as our example web server. You can clone this one just from Git. I've already cloned and installed npm packages. So let's install firstly Node Clinic. It's installs just like that, and let's install another library to battle test our server with unloading the requests on it. It's called autocannon. Let's wait till it installs. Yeah, all good. So basically how Node Clinic works. So in the real world, you just start your server like npm start if you got scripts in npm packages on. So we can see our real world React Redux example is started now on localhost 4100. Here is it. It's like the medium block copy. Now we kill our server, and we run Node Clinic with clinic doctor -- npm start. So not just simple npm start, but with clinic doctor -- prepend init. Let's start it. Okay, it's started as well. And let's open a separate tab And let's now bomb our server with requests with autocannon. So we run autocannon http localhost 4100. So you can see it's running. It's pushing requests, numerous requests to our server. You can see some stats from autocannon here, like latency, requests per second and bytes per second. And now we kill our server here. You can see there is analyzing data output from Node Clinic. And now you can see a comprehensive report of our web server performance. You can see CPU usage here. There are some issues because it is in red. You can see memory usage and some JavaScript event loop based statistics here. And moreover, you can see what's going wrong with your server. So you can see there is recommendations link, and you can see that there are some recommendations for your server to be optimized further. You can switch to a more detailed report and check what you need to fix the servers. So it's pretty handy and pretty visual way to test your web server for issues. So you can see that with Node Clinic you can easily test your web application server side and get helpful tips on how to improve its performance. Webpack is the most popular bundler nowadays. It comes with all types of functionality needed to bundle any type of application. But with such vast possibilities, inevitably comes complexities. There are just too many configuration options, plugins, loaders, and all of these should be properly divided when facing development versus production environments. Fortunately, Webpack now has outstanding documentation which covers almost all the cases. But if you're specifically interested in advanced performance optimizations, Google got you covered. Their engineers are true masters when it comes to web performance, and now they added a set of articles to Google developers website about Webpack optimization techniques. They guide you through literally every aspect on how you can make your Webpack build client more optimized. And even if you call yourself a pro Webpack expert, you can take this guide as a to-do checklist on what needs to be done. So you should definitely check this out, and I'm sure if you follow these guides, you will notice a difference. So that's all for today, folks. All the links are in the description below. Thank you for watching and stay trendy!